It was a happy coincidence that I walked into the Satyajit Ray Centenary Show Volume 3 exhibition at the Durbar Hall in Kochi recently. While this exhibition is primarily intended for artists and creators, I would urge management professionals, leaders, startup founders and entrepreneurs to definitely take a visit. Namaste, I am Nutan Manohar, founder of Me Met Me. And I'm here to share with you about few insights I've had from a beautiful experience recently. Now, the only regret I've had is that I had just an hour to spend at this exhibit. So I chose the exhibit room on the Shatranj Ke Khiladi, the chess players. To be honest, I haven't watched the movie and this is definitely on my list right now. And this room showcased a series of letters between the director and the producer to give us insights into how this film was made. And this particular part has been very interesting. For those who have seen various art exhibits and visited museums, it might seem a bit underwhelming. But the fact is, I do not think there is better documentation, unparalleled documentation of the events and the operations that went on behind the scenes before this masterpiece of a film could be made. Now, here are the three main takeaways I had while I went through the letters. The very first one is that Satyajit Ray was a fantastic planner. Now, this is in 1975. It was not a time where you could just WhatsApp and let somebody know, okay, this is what we are going to do. You had to plan well in advance. And there he was deciding the date, the time, the location for a meeting and what would be discussed and what is the homework that needs to be done before this discussion could be had. And in these letters, there is also a lot of, back and forth on dates, reason being that there would be other commitments that happen, maybe changes in plans, etc. But they are so beautifully written down. It's the mind of a well-organized person. Often when I speak to creative people, they tend to mention that if you tend to plan too much, you may not get the output that you really desire. But then Satyajit Ray tends to debunk this myth. So if you're someone who is putting your planning away, I would urge you to start looking into your planning side of your functions in your brain. The second part which made me feel wonderful was how he negotiated without having to be someone else. Now, when it comes to a discussion between a producer and a director, there tend to be places where they do not agree, and often commercials take place. One is trying to uphold art and the other is trying to make sure that the production is feasible. The beauty of this communication is that you could see both people were making sure that the other's point of view is understood. There was deep empathy on what the other stands for. The second is the way that they were negotiating. There was so much of respect, and at no point do you get the feeling that one or the other is being unauthentic or unreal or being fake. So this is something that goes on to say that you can be yourself as long as you develop empathy and openness enough to understand what the other person is saying and get to a solution that is great for all. And the third thing that blew my mind away was his humility in accepting mistakes. Now, often when I look at news, I read articles, I see that people are finding it more and more difficult to accept a mistake. But here was a man humble enough to speak about the mistakes he's made and how it has affected and what he's doing to make sure that this doesn't happen in future. Now, I hope these 3 points are good enough to help you to have the necessary reasons to go visit this exhibit. So, if you can catch it, make sure you do it. Otherwise, please do get in touch. Would love to have a deeper conversation about this exhibit. So, thank you so much. Have a lovely day.